A very warm welcome in the class of Mathematics 1. Today we are under the module of function of several variables, and in this part we are in the topic of maxima and minima of functions of two variables, part 1. Myself Rupak Bhattacharjee, Assistant Professor, Department of Mathematics, JIS College of Engineering. So let us start the journey by describing some prerequisites for this particular class. As this is the class of maxima and minima for function of two variables, so obviously it is coming under the discussion of function of several variables. So the concept of maxima and minima for function of single variable is required primarily. When we are talking about several variables, whatever may be the topic, maybe limit, continuity, differentiability, all are having some similarity with function of single variable. Basically, we can say when we are talking for several variables, it is nothing but the generalization of the concepts of single variable. So initially the concept of single variable is very much important, and it is true for the maxima minima concept also. So the next prerequisite is obviously the function of several variables, because we are going to deal it the maxima minima for this particular case. So the basic properties, the calculations, the restrictions, the limitations, and the geometrical interpretations, all these are very important, as well as it is a so important part of this discussion. Until and unless the geometrical interpretation are clear to you, the interest will not grow, and it is tough to continue the calculations, because it is not merely a calculation, we have to think so. And finally, we also need, along with other calculations, the concept of partial differentiation, because this partial differentiation is the tool to be used in this maxima minima calculation of function of several variables, and it is having a great role to play. So the calculational point of view of partial differentiation as well as the geometry has to be very much clear for us. Now entering in the discussion, it is the wagon wheel. We know it all because we are all watching cricket matches, and this is the wagon wheel of a very favorite cricketer, most probably not only for me but also for you, that is our Virat Kohli. And at this moment he has scored 77 and he is not out. These informations are very important, but the more important thing is that what is the pattern of his scoring. Look at this, there is a 6, there is also a 6, and there is a 4 which is having first drop, second drop, and then this boundary. So if we take these three examples as of now, what we are seeing that if you consider this particular ground as your x-axis like this, and if you are considering this projection as this boundary, this one, then the ball, or actually when you are looking from the camera, hanging camera over here, you will see that the ball will go in this direction, then it will reach up to this height, then it will come down to this direction, then again it will go up and reach this height, then come and then go on. And similarly, if you think for the 6, look at this, it is going in this direction. So this is your x-axis and the ball is moving in this, and similarly for this one. So this is a boundary, this is over boundary, but important thing to observe here is that the highest point where the ball is reaching, it is our extraction from this particular story. Look at this. If you treat this particular path or the locus of this ball, you will get a function of single variable at this moment how we are describing it, because along with time the height of the ball is actually projected here. So here the height of the ball is nothing but a function of time t. Now look at this. If the question is that what is the maximum height of that particular ball in this score, then this will be the answer. Though it is something having some height from the ground, but if you consider only this part, it is also a maximum point. If you consider this part, it is also a maximum point. If you consider this one, it is also a maximum point, but all are local. And in this journey, what is the global maxima? This one. In this journey of over boundary, what is the local maxima? This one. What is the global maxima? This one. And in the whole journey of this 77 run, if this is the over boundary where the ball has reached the highest height, then among these all local maximas, it is the value which is having the highest altitude, so it is going to be the global maxima for the whole scenario. This is the concept of maxima minima in the field of single variable. Now proceeding further, what we see that one first fundamental theorem tells us for the function of single variable is that a function fx is said to have a local maxima. Please try to understand the term local maxima. It is known to you, but why I am giving, as it is our first class, I will make a synchronization of this idea with the several variable concept. So we have a local maxima if fa is greater than fx. All these are x and this is x equal to a, this point. The functional value at this point is greater than all functional values of the available values of x, where x is lying between a minus h to a plus h, means suppose it is a plus h and it is a minus h. So we are taking this interval for this particular case, and in this interval we are checking what is the maximum value f has attained. It is interval. Please concentrate on this term. This term will be changed when I am going to extend my idea. So it is also so. Maybe you are asking about the continuity, maybe you are asking about some other properties, but we are now dealing with only maximum minimum. Now the local maximum of a function is the largest value only in the neighborhood of the point. So here neighborhood is termed as interval. Next, if we follow just the reverse idea, if the value at a is always less than all values of functional values of this function, where x minus a minus h and a plus h is considered, then this first fundamental theorem is applicable to all functions, continuous, discontinuous, differentiable, non-differentiable, because these are the examples. So what you see basically, if you look at this particular picture, what discussion we had made for Virat Kohli's wagon wheel, it is also similar to that. Look at this. Here we are getting local maxima because here we are considering this particular neighborhood. Here we are getting local minima because we are considering this particular neighborhood. Here we are also getting another local maxima, one particular neighborhood. But what is about this? This is a new term written to you, though not new because it is known to you, but it is not in maxima minima construction. So what is going on here, I will make it clear to you with very beautiful examples. But look at this, here something is happening where in between the cases, if you concentrate on the red dots, we are getting the tangent parallel to x-axis. Here the tangent is parallel to x-axis, here also so, here also so, here also so. But in this case, slope changes. Slope changes. Here it is downwards, here it is also downwards. But in between this case, one point we get the tangent is parallel to x-axis. So what happens if we consider this discussion with the same picture? What we see, our first derivative test tells us if fx we have taken as a function and f dash x changes sign from negative to positive, passing through a from left to right, then x equal to a is a local maxima. So it is our left to right direction, and f dash x changes sign from negative to positive. So if you see this change from left to right, it is f dash x which is changing its sign from negative to positive, and you will get a local maxima over here. Similarly, if f dash x changes sign positive to negative, in the same direction we are passing, but it is from positive to negative it is going on, then we will get local minima like this. But if f dash x does not changes its sign about x equal to a, then x equal to a neither a point of maxima nor a minima. We can take this point also, we can take this point also. In both the cases, f dash x does not changes the sign. But what is the difference between these two? Here the tangent is not making any parallel sign with x while passing through this point to this point. But when passing through this point to this point, at a particular point we are getting tangent is parallel. So second derivative test tells us that after identifying what is local maxima and what is local minima, we have to find out what is the value. So actually two things are there. First thing is that at which point we are trying to find out, and second thing is what is the value. Clear? So what you see, f(x) is continuous function in the neighborhood of x equal to 0 such that f dash x equal to 0 and f double dash a exists. So it is our mandatory condition which has to follow for this second derivative test. And after that, if we calculate f double dash x and put x equal to a in this, then if it is greater than 0, it will be a local minima. If it is less than 0, it is a local maxima. You know all this. I am not elaborating this, but it is required to recapitulate this thing for this class. And finally, we can say that if f double dash x equal to 0 means f dash x equal to 0 as well as f double dash a equal to 0, that means second derivative test does not give you conclusive results. Means it will not give you the idea that whether it will be maxima or minima. It will be a saddle point. Now, oh, what a beautiful thing is this. In the class, actually, if we see this, we can wait for 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 7 minutes because of the beauty of this particular sculpture. But we don't have so much time, we have to proceed. Look at this. Now you are visualizing this thing in 3 dimension. That means you are looking at this particular area. Don't please allow me to give some symbols over there, though it is not should not be done because it is a beautiful creation, but I have to do this. If you look at this particular surface, it is a surface to you. Similarly, it is a surface to you. It is a surface to you. This is a surface to you. This is also a surface to you. If you just discard this metallic part, just if you take this particular thing like this in a three-dimensional concept, because this picture is, that is why given to you, because it will give you the feel of three-dimensional concept. Then if you want to find out the topmost point of this part, you can go along this direction, you can go along this direction, you can go along this direction, you will reach here. But if you try to find out for this one, you will reach here. If you try to find out, you will reach at this point. So if you think about the particular situation for several variables, that means where you can see the surface, you are having maximum height here. If you consider this stone, you will get a maximum height here if you consider this one. So I think you are now getting the clue that I want to give you the idea that these are nothing but local maxima. All these are of local maxima. And among all these local maxima, which one is giving you the highest value will be termed as global maxima for this particular Taj Mahal. Now to make it more clear, I am considering this particular structure. So if you take this particular structure, if you go along this direction, or if you go along this direction, or if you go along this direction, you will reach here. So this is the local maxima for this particular structure, as well as this is also the global maxima, because all the maximum points what we are getting, it is the top one. Proceeding further, what we see, this is also a beautiful picture of a horse, but here the horse is important, but important is the surface of this particular horse on its back. So allow me to do this thing over here. Look at this. If you start going from this direction, you will come at this point, which is the lowest one, and you can go in this direction. Please concentrate. So from this point of view, it is your local minima. But when you are looking about the surface of the horse's back, and if you go along this direction, you are actually going upward, and after this you will go downwards in the reverse direction, which is not visible in this picture. In that case, you will get it as local maxima, and in the previous case you get it as local minima. So what is the problem? At a particular point for a particular surface, from one direction gives you local minima and from another direction gives you local maxima. Can you conclude anything? No, but it will follow the required condition like the previous cases in single variable, and the same thing is now appearing to you in the case of several variables. So if we proceed, what we see, there are some structures in several variables where, depending on your view, if you look at this particular structure, this is the topmost point in all are topmost. But if you look at from this direction, if you just make it flatten, and then you will get a particular point over here which is the topmost one, and a point over here which is the lowermost one. So this is the representation of surfaces. And finally, if you see this particular structure, this is nothing but the structure of this particular horse. If you go along this direction, and if you come along this direction and go along this direction, this particular point with red dot is a point where you can't claim it maximum as well as you can't claim it minimum. So what will happen? So before entering into the mathematical rigors, mathematical calculations, please try to understand the beauty of this topic. I am trying my best to make you visualize the thing. So proceeding further, what we see that now we are having the definition that a function f of two variables is said to have relative maximum or minimum at a point AB if there is a disk. In the last case we have termed it as an interval, but now we are considering the disk centered at AB such that in all those points of that disk at AB the functional value is greater than or equal to all other points. For minimum it will be less than equal to. It is the definition of relative maxima. So what we see, if we consider this particular structure and if you draw a disk in this particular xy plane, suppose you have considered a disk over here. Now at this point, if you consider this disk suppose, and at this point if you plot, you will get this point, and all these points the functional values are here, here, here and so on, but the functional value at FAB for this one is greater than or equal to. Similarly for this one, similarly for this one. So all these are nothing but the example of relative maxima. Now if you think about the relative minima, I have just zoomed this particular structure over here from here and I have represented this. So if you have a disk over here and at this point you are getting this value, and at this point you are getting this one, it is this one, it is this one, it is this one and so on. So this point, suppose a dash b dash, is the point where the functional value is less than or equal to all other functional values from this disk. So what is this? This is nothing but the example of relative minima. So this is the concept of relative maxima and relative minima. Now if we proceed, look at this. I just want to make something clear to you. If we have this one, and suppose, please try to feel this, that it is a three-dimensional subject. How you can feel after drawing this particular circle? You can feel that it may be a three-dimensional subject. So this, suppose Z, it is X, it is Y, and this point is suppose A comma B. So what is A? X equal to A. That means if we draw a dotted line over here, it is A, it is B, and this is the dotted line from A to B, and this is the point A, suppose. So what we see, if you, please try to understand, if you fix this A and if you change the values of Y, that means you are actually having the cutting part. If you cut this particular structure at x equal to A by a plane, you will get something like this, and you will proceed along B, y equal to B, and you will get this one. What is this? This is nothing but the function of single variable local maxima. And if you relatively fix this B, suppose this is your y equal to B and this is your x-axis, and it is actually your x equal to A 1 upon in the previous case, and what you see, that this structure is nothing but something like that. So if you draw the perpendiculars, you will get this point as the local maxima for single variable. Now what is this? This is nothing but the geometry of partial differentiation. The geometry is actually clear to you in the class of several variables partial differentiation, but it is important over here, that is why I am discussing it. So finally what we can say, that if you have this structure and if you have this particular point over here, actually when you are going for this structure, you can have all these lines, curves, and this among these curves which is in the topmost position, you will get local maxima. Similarly, not only from this, if you can just think about growing in this direction, means this curve, this curve, this curve, this curve, and this curve. Look at this. This is nothing but the structure on this particular 3D object. So your circular plate is having a point for which you are getting the topmost value in this surface is nothing but your local maxima. So this is the geometry behind it. Okay. Now what we see, when we will call it absolute maximum, it is nothing but absolute maximum. If a point at AB we are trying to find out, then f of AB is greater than or equal to f of xy for all xy lie inside the domain of it. Just the difference is, in the previous case we have taken the disk, now we are taking the whole domain. So if f has a relative maxima at AB, then we say that f has relative extremum. Means if we have maximum or minimum, in general we are talking about extremum. So extremum can be maximum as well as extremum can be minimum also. Clear? So what you see, look at the diagram. Here we get two minima in the whole domain. So it is also a relative minimum, it is also a relative minimum, but among these two it is more lower value than this one, so it is absolute minimum. And similarly here we are getting a relative maximum, and here also we are getting, we can't claim it because only our domain is over, because we don't know whether it is going on or it is coming down. We can't claim about this relativity, but it is also a maxima from this particular structure. So among these two, this is having the highest value, so it will be the absolute maximum. Okay, now we are most probably confident on the idea of this relative absolute maxima minima of several variables. Now our job is to find out the tools. So finding the relative extrema, we have a very important theorem, because all the pictures are now clear to you. Just you have to link these informations. If f has relative extrema at AB, and if the first order derivative of f exists at this point, then fx AB equal to 0, fy AB equal to 0, means their partial derivatives will be 0. But the most important point is to observe, if the first order derivatives of f exists, if does not exist, what is to be done is not given here, because it is not necessary and sufficient. It is one directional, it is only necessary. If first derivative of f exists at this point, then it will be 0 if relative extrema is having. So if they are 0, it is not always guaranteed that relative extrema will be there. This is the first observation. And the second observation is also that if partial derivatives does not exist at a particular point, then you can't claim that this point will never be relative maxima or never be relative minima. It also can be happen. So this is a theorem or tool what we can use, but this is not the only tool what we can use for finding out extrema. And the definition is of critical point is we can take a point in the domain xy, domain of fxy, if these partial derivatives are 0 or if one of the both partial derivatives do not exist. So look at this, here it is also given, if does not exist also, then also it will be termed as critical point, but we will use these two mainly for our calculational purpose. Now look at this, one example is there, y square minus x square is a hyperbolic paraboloid. What is this? Just after few seconds it will be clear to you. Important observation is that if x equal to minus 2x, fy equal to 2y, so 0 0 is critical, but it is not relative extrema. Look at this, this is z equal to y square minus x square. So here you get this is 0 for both the cases, but if it is 0 it will be relative extrema, it is not guaranteed, it is extrema relative, then if they exist it will be 0. So this is the example, and these types of points are called saddle point, of which was actually given to you for the single variable also. Now what we can say that fxy has a saddle point at xab if there are two distinct vertical planes through this point such the trace of the surface is one plane has a relative maxima and the trace of another is relative minima, which is already given to you with the example of horseback. Now the pictorial representation of this one, look at this here, fxy is equal to x square plus y square, both the partial derivatives are 0 and relative and absolute minimum at 0 0, it is clear from the picture. This one is also not having any problem, z equal to 1 minus x square minus y square. It is also having relative and absolute maxima at 0 0. But the next thing is most important. Look at the picture only. And if someone asks you that whether there is any relative or absolute minima, you will say yes, because this is the point from picture, it is clear. But look at this, if you can calculate, you will see that fx 0 0 and fy 0 0 does not exist. So if they does not exist never indicates or never gives you the guarantee that extrema will not be there. This is the clear cut example of this particular statement. Okay, now proceeding further, then how to find out this particular calculation. So we need critical points first. After that we have to check whether they are going to give you extremums or not, and if they are going to give you extremums, then what type of extremums they are going to give. So this theorem second partial test tells us we have to take a critical point AB and then we have to calculate this one, d is equal to fxx partial derivative of f with respect to x twice, then y twice, then x, then y by. So this is the very important expression which we need to keep in our mind and practice to perform the problems. What are the observations? After calculating d, if d is greater than 0 and fxx ab is greater than 0, then it will have relative minima. You can think about your own self and try to compare it with your first order, rather single variable concept. First and foremost requirement is that d has to be greater than 0. Okay, if d is greater than 0, then we are going to check this one, not that we are going to check this one then d. Clear? Second one, again we have to check whether d is greater than equal to greater than 0, not equal to, d is greater than 0. If so, and fxx is less than, then maximum. But in both the cases, first condition is that d has to be greater than 0, then only we can think for maximum and minima. Then obviously it will be coming in our mind that if d is less than 0 or d is equal to 0, what is the case? So if d is less than 0, we have the observation that it will be a saddle point. All these things are discussed. but how to calculate them, now we are approaching to this. And finally, if d equal to 0, then no conclusion can be drawn for this problem. No conclusion means it can be maxima, it can be minima, it can be nothing. But if d is equal to 0 at that AB, your conclusion from this test is that we don't have any conclusion. Clear? Okay. Now we are proceeding further. What we get after getting the concept of finding out the relative maxima or relative minima, how to find out absolute maxima or absolute minima, that means absolute extrema for a continuous function of two variables. Simple. Find the critical points of f that lie in the interior of R. We can find it out. After that, the boundary points at which the absolute extrema can occur, because boundary points we have to check. And finally, we have to evaluate fxy at all these found points, and among them the largest value corresponding to which AB is going to be the absolute maxima or absolute minima according to the symbols or the values. Clear? Now our job is going to be started according to the calculational point of view. In this class, actually we are going to find out that how to find out the critical points. So there is a function given to you. It is easy. We have to follow the structure that we have to find out the partial differentiation of this one with respect to x, then partial differentiation of this one with respect to y, and we can get this one. And according to the requirement to find out the critical points, we have to make both of them equal to 0. So what we get, this one is equal to 0 and this one is equal to 0. And to make this one equal to 0, 2x minus 2y plus 2 equal to 0 and minus 2x plus 4y minus 6 equal to 0, what we get, x minus y is equal to minus 1. We can make it 0, so from this we can get this one, and here we get minus x plus 2y equal to 3. So these two equations we are getting. Now our job is to find out the value of x comma y. So it is very simple that if we add them, what we get, y is equal to 3 minus 1, that is 2. And putting y equal to 2 in the first equation, what we get, x equal to 1. But importantly that we are getting only one critical point. It may be maxima, it may be minima, it may be saddle point, it may be the case that we can't decide, that is different. But the critical point calculation is done, so we have found that this is the only solution. So the only critical point is 1 comma 2. Now proceeding for the next example, we have to find out the critical points of this function. Now we are getting this function is having cubic power. So what we get, the first order derivatives we can find it out, 3 into 2, 6x square minus 6y. After that all the terms are with related to y, so fx will not having any contribution. Similarly, fy is calculated. Our job is to make both of them equal to 0 and then solve. So the critical points of this are going to be the solution of these two. Now what we see, that if we rewrite the first equation y equal to x square, then we will substitute it in the second equation. We will get a quadratic equation of x. That means we are going to get the two values of x. Clear? So when we are going to get two values of x, this is going to be x equal to 1 and 2, and putting them, what we get, x equal to 1, y is equal to 1 square, that means 1, and when x equal to 2, y is equal to 2 square, that is 4. So there are two critical points now we are having. One is 1 1, another one is 2 4. So the calculation of critical points are not at all tough, but you have to be confident that when sometimes some more than one, more than two, more than three critical points are coming, you have to find it out very rationally. We will make it clear obviously in the next class when we are going to solve some critical problems of function of several variables for maximum minima, because in all these problems we have to first find out the critical points. So finally, what I want to say, that this is going to be your assignment. First one is like the general problem what we have solved, but the second problem is something related to our real life structures, where you have to link it with your ideas. but try to find out the mathematical part from it and find out the required job what is asked here. So this is also the assignment. Basically we are going to give this assignment for the next lecture, because in this class we have not completed the calculation, full calculation. So finally I have used this references for making this particular lecture and trying to conclude and thanking you all for your kind patience. Happy listening, happy learning.